What is up, YouTube? My Legacy Dragonzord came in the mail today, as was actually expected, but it said it came a day early according to the shipping, so I'm grateful for that. Thank you, Toys R Us. By the way, this was available for pre-order from Toys R Us for $60 at one point, which is when I grabbed it. I originally had it pre-ordered for $89 from ToyWiz, and then I said fuck that, canceled it, and went to Toys R Us. So now I'm gonna just cut here, and I'm gonna fast forward to the unboxing, so because that part's pretty stupid. Well, YouTube's been hounding my ass about songs playing in-game through in-game radio, so there would have been music here to cheer you up in the meantime. But how about we all just tell YouTube to calm the fuck down with copyright claims? I know it's not YouTube directly, but I mean, come on, guys, come on. So what you get is the green Dragonzord, two sets of hands, the straight hands that I have on it right now, and the curved hands, and the fingers are actually independent molds. Like, they're separated, they're not just one piece. And you get the tail stand holder for once his tail becomes his weapon once you combine it with the other Megazord. Now, this is just the side view of the Megazord. It's actually very, very long, and once you put the tail on the staff, it actually gets very high up too. What I'm doing right now is showing where there's actually independent molds. That's not a sticker, that's actually molded plastic in the shape of the Dragonzord coin symbol, which I thought was pretty cool. The tail is actually very flexible as well. So it doesn't come put on, but you have to put it on yourself, and the snap that holds it in place is very firm. Also, I do have a little difficulty snapping into the chest piece later on to make it the sword weapon, but I really can't complain. It's just such a firm clasp that I couldn't get it. The golden, I guess, shoulder pieces are completely metal. The feet are metal, not the knees though, and not the part above the knees where your leg collapses into it. The chest piece is also not completely metal, though there might be metal parts. I'm not completely sure. I'm really going by touch and feeling how cold it is. And it's just such a solid Zord. It's actually very, very heavy too, so I do have trouble having it stand up once I combine it with my other Zord later on. I'm just showing right there, you'd pop the head down by putting the, I guess the spine on the top of the head down, and it pops the mask from his mouth once you combine it with the other Zord. I'm just getting a closer look so I could show you guys it's actually molded plastic and not stickers. I'm going to show you the knees right now. The knees are also molded plastic and not stickers. I'm poking at them right now with the tail holder, but it's actually raised. It's not just like a flat plastic either, so I think it's really nice. And one day, whilst going to my local comic shop, I came across this. I'm not even sure if it's a legitimate version of the green Dragonzord, the original one, but I bought it for $5, so I wasn't complaining. But you can see the differences in the old way it would look compared to the new, the newer Zord. It's leaps and bounds ahead of what it was, and you could see that where there were stickers on the old one, they have now faded, but the new one's molded plastic, so it's never going to fade like that. Also, the new one's a little more slimmer looking, which I kind of like. And now for a comparison with the actual 2010 remake of the original Dragonzord. This is not the Legacy version. I did not get the Legacy version, seeing as they're the same mold. Even though the Legacy version is made of metal in some spots, I did want to just show a side-by-side, and it is completely compatible with this Zord because they're both from the same mold. The Legacy version of the Dragonzord and the regular Dragonzord. Just so you can see, though, how long and big the tail is on the back of the Dragonzord, it really is what's going to keep it standing up besides the really long, flat feet. You could also see the molded plastic on the hip joints and the molds on the shoulder pieces, which are complete metal. And now we shall combine them into both forms that it can make together. Also, just wanted to point this out right away. It says for the first transformation, to pull the arms off the Mammoth Zord and then remove the back piece, but you don't have to do it. I did it and realized later on that you don't have to. But for some reason, just want you to rip the arms off and then take off the rest of the Mammoth chest piece that kind of snaps around the back. This Zord transformation is actually the one where you take the green Dragonzord and put it in the place of Tyrannosaurus, and you're going to see I'm going to try and put the Mammoth arms on. It doesn't work though. You actually have to snap the back piece on and then put the arms on. I don't know why it told me to take them off. And here's what you get once you combine the Dragonzord and the green Dragonzord into, I guess, Zord formation number 1, is what I'm going to call it. I left the Mammoth shield on and the regular Dragonzord, but I'm going to switch it now, and you're going to see what it looks like with the green Dragonzord tail, chest piece, stand, sword, giant drill thing it makes. So you're going to see what happens once you put it on. It's pretty heavy. You also have to pull the chest piece out a little bit to make it large enough to fit the tail. Also, the tail, also very heavy, not completely made of metal though. And it's going to fall out in a moment because I'm an idiot and didn't realize how hard I needed to snap it in. You can see me just fiddling and lightly doing it. You really need to force that thing in. And then if you take the stand for the, I guess, dragon tail sword, it also has a removable base, and I don't know what the logic behind that was, but maybe if you don't want to use the stand. But essentially what happens is once you put it on, the tail sword piece becomes a stand. It's so heavy otherwise it wouldn't be able to hold it. So it has to be standing straight up. You can't angle it forward like you can with the regular sword. You have to put it on the stand, which is attached at the bottom, and then you see I drop the tail. What I'm doing right now is I'm opening the back flap enough to release the handle that you have to attach to the Mammothzord's hands. And this will work with both the Legacy and the regular Dinozords. I don't see why it wouldn't, but I also figured out you can't really have the arms straight out. You have to kind of let it go down a little bit, otherwise it just leans the Zord forward because of how heavy the tail is. So once I snap it down and then extend the tail, it's pretty much how you're going to get it. So that's Zord combination number 1. So just to show you guys the size of how big it actually makes it, it's about like 1.75 feet tall. It's like the length of my entire forearm. And I'm like 5'10", so I have fairly long arms, so it can get pretty big. Here's just, I'm going to zoom in so you can see the detail on what it looks like once it's in this Zord combination mode. Sorry about the shaky camera, it's just I don't have a super smooth tripod, mine's more of a stable tripod, so it's kind of a little stiff. But everything looks pretty fantastic on it. I just wish that top piece for the head wasn't plastic because it's kind of wavy already, and it's kind of pissing me off, honestly. It's like, why not make it metal?
And now for the fast forward!
I'm making Zord combination number 1, going to Zord combination number 2. This is where you kind of just drape it over the Dinozord that's pretty much unaltered. So all you gotta do is just put it together normally, snap the ears back, or the horns, whatever you want to call it, and then put the shoulders down. Don't put the pterodactyl on yet. You slip that on top. There's actually a little flap in the back that connects where the Dinozord tail would flip up, and then you can flip the tail up if you want. It doesn't stay very well, though. And then you just put the pterodactyl chest piece on. It falls down because it's super top heavy, and you kind of need to attach the sword Dinozord chest piece, otherwise it won't stay up. So here's what it looks like once it's fully combined into the second formation that you could do with both Zords. It's very, very top heavy, so you need to put the tail stand on it. I don't know how heavy it would be with the regular Legacy Dinozord, because that has metal joints and stuff, but I really don't think it's going to be too different because it's just a lot of weight on top of it. But maybe here the Legacy Zord, it's not as heavy. It's really not meant to have the arms forward either, which is weird because it raises the sides then. So it's kind of like you have to kind of click the plastics together to get the Zord to stick its hand out, and then it just kind of is too heavy and just topples over. So, yeah. I managed to prop it up, so this is what it looks like a little closer and a little better lit without the sword in front of it to block the view of the entire thing. I really do like the feet plates that are on the bottom, the molds on them, and I do like that the feet are metal. But once again, it does make this super top heavy, so you got to be careful. Don't put it on a shelf anywhere very high unless you have it standing up very well, otherwise it'll fall and break. Something I did notice is that there's this little flap switch that you have to flip up, otherwise the Dragonzord won't hold itself together after you're done combining it with other Zords, because it'll just kind of fall apart. So this is what holds the two leg joints together in the middle. And just one last time, this is what you get in the box. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you want to get a Legacy Dragonzord because it's fucking awesome. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you subscribe if you want more videos.